your horse racing with Daily Racing Forms Formulator, now free for DRF Bets members. Sign up to get the best bonus in racing with a $250 deposit match, plus a $10 free bet and free Formulator past performances. Go to drf.com/bet to play like a pro today.
Dan Illman, Mike Beer at beautiful Belmont Park, getting set to take a peek at race number 9 on Friday. It's the Grade 1 Acorn for 3-year-old fillies. We're going a 1-turn mile and a 16th. Before we take a look at the field, remember to head on over to shop.drf.com for your Belmont Stakes packages up to 46% off the retail price. Everything you need to win big on Belmont Stakes Day. As we take a look at the field for the Acorn, it's a pretty interesting group because you've got the Kentucky Oaks winner, pretty mischievous, and I understand some people saying, well, maybe last time was the time. The Oaks might not have been the strongest field this year. She traveled very strongly throughout.
Yeah, I think both points are well taken, Dan. I mean, you know, that was one of those races where she was a big price. Maybe it wasn't the strongest field in the world. She still looked pretty good winning that day while keeping close to what was a solid pace. It was a really nice performance. I guess she's the horse to beat in here.
She's the horse to beat in here, but arguably the most intriguing runner in the race is the stretch-out sprinter. That's Money's Gold, who's been brilliant in her career. Even though she was beaten last time out going 7/8, she's now has to prove her mettle going a mile and a 16th. And we throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Are you surprised at this pace projector? It seems contested and fast. Isn't she the quickest from the stalls?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are a couple of other horses in here who have speed, but let's be honest here. What are the chances that Money's Gold isn't on the lead up the backstretch in here?
I would be stunned unless they are concerned about her getting the distance, and if they're concerned about her getting the distance, she's supposed to be in the Jersey Girl on Thursday, going a shorter distance. She's going to be on the lead, I believe, and I do think there's some talent here. The distance, a big question mark. Not so for the #1 Darth Vader. The force was strong in this one 3 starts back. The last time she went a 1-turn mile, she was 46-1 that day. She looked pretty good beating a nice horse in Red Carpet Ready who came back and beat Money's Gold. Her last 2 races I think are okay. In that Kentucky Oaks, that was a very, very fast pace she pushed. She ran a lot better than it looks on paper.
Underrated effort. I mean, yeah, she was right up there the entire way, and it's not like she totally gave in through the stretch. Ultimately outfinished at the end, but she was part of that pace. I thought she stayed really gamely in there, going a mile and an 1/8, which, let's be honest, it could be a little bit far for her. She had the big upset in that Devona Dale where, once again, she was part of a really fast pace. Red Carpet Ready was part of that pace. She didn't want any part of it. This horse stayed on.
That's right.
I didn't love the Gulfstream Park Oaks as a race 2 starts back, but she ran fine in there as well.
I think getting back to 1 turn is going to help her. She has tactical speed, tactical enough. She can tuck in behind the leaders and might work out a very, very good trip. Randomized is the #2. This is an expensive daughter of Nyquist who popped second time out. First off, a very long layoff for Chad Brown. We watched this race. She went right to the front and she dominated.
Yeah, just powers away from this field after making the lead early on in here. Visually impressive, yes. It came back pretty fast as far as Beyer was concerned as well with a 92. I'll just say, as of now, I'm going to be a little skeptical of that figure that she earned. The horse that was second to her there, Gifted, you can pull up her PPs using Formulator. She's just not that good. She's never Beyered out of the 60s in her life, except in that race where she got an 82. It wasn't a good field. Randomized did look good winning.
The 3 and the 4 are both coming out of the Grade 3 Gazelle at Aqueduct. The Kentucky Oaks prep going a 2-turn 9 furlongs. The 3 Frosty O'Toole was entering that race off 2 2-turn wins at Tampa Bay. She made her first start for Todd Pletcher in the Gazelle. The pace wasn't very fast in that race, but I wanted her to run better.
I agree with you. She just did not run well in that race. It was a nice little test for her in there. Worth noting that Lasix was off that day. Right. She really didn't show up. Her prior 2 races on dirt were fine, and I thought it made her at least interesting going into that Gazelle, which wasn't the strongest field in the world. The horse that wound up winning it was the longest shot on the board. But this filly just didn't run well in that race. Pletcher had her entered in the Black-Eyed Susan, scratched her, awaited this. Maybe that's a good sign, damn it. I don't know what to do with her.
If the Timeform US pace projector is right, if they go fast, I think this time around they take her back, they try to make 1 run, maybe they pick up the pieces, if not the entire piece of the pie. The 4 is Occult. This is a 2-time winner and she is a stakes winner. Both wins came on wet tracks. Both wins came in slow time. I was visually impressed with her maiden win 3 starts back. I liked the way she did that. She was tracking outside under a very confident ride. She won easily. In the Gazelle last time out, she didn't run well. I know she was wide and the pace wasn't fast, but she was right up close.
Yeah, I agree with you. She sat right up close, and not only was she right up close, she was right alongside the winner of that race. She was also tracking the pace. Again, the winner was the longest shot on the board. She went on with it, and Occult just, let's be honest, she came up empty in the final furlong there. It was pretty disappointing. She still has not run fast enough, I don't think, to take very seriously in this race. Does the shorter distance help her?
I have a feeling that the shorter distance might actually help her a little bit. I think there's something there, but she just hasn't run that fast race yet. Money's Gold to number 5. We're going to find out on Friday whether Todd Pletcher has a top sprinter, a horse that might challenge in a race like the Test at Saratoga, or if he has something more. Her first 3 starts were things of beauty. She won easily. She won fast. Last time out in the 8 Bells, she went to the lead. Red Carpet Ready is a good sprinter, and she looked like she was going better than Money's Gold on the turn. I give Money's Gold credit for fighting back down on the rail, although, was that a mirage? Was Red Carpet Ready also getting tired?
I don't think it was a mirage. I gave her the same credit you did, just for fighting back at the end. She couldn't ultimately come all the way back to prevail, but she was dead game down on the inside. That being said, did she have a real excuse in that race, Dan? She made the lead. I don't think they were flying up front in there. And at the end of the day, Red Carpet Ready took the race to this filly around the turn and beat her. I think she's going to be loose on the lead in this race, and I think she's super dangerous stretching out. But how short a price do you want on her?
If she can stay, I think the plan is just air it out. Open up down the backstretch and just play catch me if you can. I know you never see that, but it might be your best chance of winning, just stretching this field out. Pretty mischievous, went into the Kentucky Oaks a little bit underrated. Post 14 on paper seemed like maybe it would work against her. Tyler Gaffalione gave her a good trip, but she was traveling just so sweetly turning into the stretch. She was getting a bit tired in the lane. A mile and a 16th is good for her, and she's been nothing but consistent her whole career. She's the one to beat.
Yeah, one turn could be good for her as well, I think that. I mean, overall, her form's just rock solid. I don't feel like there's one race on our card that you could point to and say, that was a superior effort, although she was awful good winning the Oaks last time. Yeah, I agree with that. I think she is the horse to beat in here. I'm not terrified to bet against her, though.
The X factor in this race is the number 7. Good girl, bad habits. She's 2 for 2 in her career, and she's won both races by a combined 23 1/4 lengths for Brittany Russell. Here's a first level allowance going 7/8 of a mile. She hasn't been threatened at any point of her races. Now she steps up from a class standpoint. Perhaps most importantly, she's going to be facing a much faster pace than she's used to.
Yeah, that's maybe the main issue for her. I mean, it's a step up in class as well, but I think we've already sort of talked about this 3-year-old filly crop. I'm not sure how strong it is. I worry less about that than I do about the pace of this race as she stretches out. I have no idea how good she is, Dan. I do know that she's been super impressive visually, just absolutely galloping in both of her starts so far.
Chad Brown might have a sleeper on the outside for Juddmonte. It's the Into Mischief filly named Exceed. She won her career debut at Gulfstream. She was behind Red Carpet Ready and Money's Gold in the 8 Bells 2 starts back. I wonder if that slow first quarter sort of worked against her. They sort of picked it up on the turn. She was forced to play catch up, and she stayed on, all things considering. For only her second lifetime start, it was okay. She gets a better setup here.
I agree with that. Pratt did rate her early in that race, and then he tried to make that wide move off the turn. She actually got into contention there. I appreciated how she just sort of held her position to the right. She didn't lose any ground on those fillies. She just couldn't really catch them at the end. I thought it was a deceptively good performance. I have a big problem with that short comment they threw on her there, that she hung in that race. She did not hang. She ran really well in there, and she was also really impressive winning first time out. I think this filly's good.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 1 Acorn. It's a historically important race for the 3-year-old fillies. Where are you going?
I'm going to take the horse that we just talked about, Exceed, on the outside. I do think there's a real chance she improves here. I do not mind them stretching out in this race. And ultimately, Dan, I don't really want to take Pretty Mischievous back at a much shorter price this time, and I didn't trust your top pick, Money's Gold, enough to take her.
I like where you're going in here because I think the value is there, the upside is there. I like the attack post position. I like the fact that you're going to get a setup. I just love the way Money's Gold won her first 3 starts. She's got a big long stride on her. She was beaten on the square in the 8 Bells last time out. I am very fascinated that Todd's running her here and stretching her out where he could have picked shorter options. I'm going Money's Gold, wire to window, although I do respect Pretty Mischievous. It should be a fun edition of the Acorn here at Belmont Park on Friday. Best of luck.